What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. Going out for a little midday jog to take a break from the world. I think we all need to get outside every once in a while. Had a lot of people request me do a follow-up on my thoughts on GameStop following the earnings, following that interesting earnings call. And I say interesting because of how boring it was. The lack of interest, I guess, made it interesting how they're handling this situation. And the incredible amount of viewers we had in there. I mean, at one point, it was like, I think it surpassed 26,000 viewers in that live stream. So thank you all for coming by, and thank you for the new subscribers. Welcome to the channel. I have a gigantic backlog of GameStop videos. I am one of the OG investors. I guess you could call it the Roaring Kitty crew. We've been invested in this since back before it was at $4. So yeah, I'd like to think I know a little something about this stock that these Johnny-come-latelys just want to trash it for. Let's talk about my thoughts on GameStop and where it's going from here. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell for notifications, and if you don't mind, hit that like right now. I would really appreciate it. Without further ado, GameStop's earnings call was just boring. It was just weird. It was, 20 minutes of Sherman talking and just reading through blah, blah, blah. We missed the top line. We missed the bottom line. We're not taking questions. Thanks for listening. Goodbye. It was so strange. I guess the word would be anticlimactic. For the buildup that it had, for that to be the result of it was strange. And it got me thinking, why? Like, why was it just so subtle? Was that really them being super unprepared for the world watching them? Or was it the calm before the storm? I think it's the calm before the storm. I really do. Ryan Cohen, behind the scenes, which I was genuinely surprised he did not speak on the call. I think a lot of people were, based off of what's transpired in the past, hell, even to the past 2 weeks with the new hires from Google, COOs, former employees of Amazon, higher ups. I mean, these are some heavy hitting names they're bringing in to run the new board of GameStop. They are ushering out, slowly but surely, they are ushering out the old regime and moving in what Ryan Cohen is determining to be the all-star team, the cast of people to create the next generation GameStop, to move it forward in a better direction than it had been, how it's been circling the drain for, I mean, some people might say, the past decade, and somehow has survived this long without changing anything. Now, they started doing a few organizational structural changes, but nothing major, no gigantic industry shifts, which is what Ryan Cohen wants to do. He wants to turn it from a brick and mortar store to a technology-first, customer-centric, omni-channel environment, which is a mouthful, but it's powerful. It's powerful to think what the potential is. Now, before I go into the haters out there, because they're always going to be there, I know that since $4. Hell, it went to $2 after I bought it at $4, and I've seen my fair share of haters all the way through the rise, and the more it grows, the more the haters seem to just pop up out of nowhere saying they're calling the top at every point they can. Before I get into that, though, where's GameStop going from here? The price action on Thursday following the earnings call was wild, like reminiscent of the initial boom of rising to, what was it, the first time it went to, on that 1 day rise, it went from like 119 to like 230. Like, it felt like that, where it went from 116 to 100, and I think aftermarket was like 188 or something. And then early on this morning, Friday morning, it peaked past, I think, 216 or something like that, before ultimately falling back down to 175 and kind of just hanging out there. The market's still open right now while I'm recording, so I don't know what's at right now, but it's somewhere around there before I hit record. Where is it going from here? First off, before I give any predictions, the obligatory, I am not a financial advisor, and this is all for entertainment purposes only. And yeah, it's entertaining as hell. This is one wild ride of a stock, which I called, by the way, after the first initial bump when it went to $500 the first time and fell from there. I said, that's just the first inning. Nobody believed me. It fell all the way to $38 when I bought more of it, and Roaring Kitty bought back in again, doubled his position, and has not really looked back since that moment. This was not over by a long shot, but is it going to be a straight line to salvation? No. First off, there's no guarantees that anything's going to play out the way people hope it does. Actually, what I've learned is what plays out is what most people haven't thought of. That always seems to be the case. It's always like the out of left field answer to, wait, that's what happens to it? And that's what it feels like with this. Like back when I was investing at $4 with GameStop, I would have been so excited to see it get to $60 or $70. I was looking at this stock as like a potential huge turnaround story if they were able to realign their business into a technology company, technology first, customer centric, omni-channel. Even back before Cohen took over, when he was writing letters to the board about how he wanted to be a part of the company to help transition it to the next level, that's when I was like, okay, I would be excited about that. And then it blew right past those numbers. And I could have never in a million years, even though I knew about the squeeze potential, I knew about how it was over-shorted, naked shorted by hedge funds. I knew about all that. It wasn't a surprise to me. But the fact that it went to $500 a share at one point, I don't think in my wildest dreams, if you ask me what the highest price you would ever see GameStop get to in your lifetime, I don't think I could have said just straight up being honest, I could not have guessed $500. I did hope for a turnaround. I was expecting more of a ladder up, like a stair step to getting to that glorious, $70, $80, $100, $120 mark in a year or 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Like I would have been ecstatic about that. And maybe like them implementing a what do you call it? A dividend. And then I could use that as like paying for my hopeful retirement in someday. Like that's what I was thinking about initially. But back to the point of where's GameStop going from here? It's not going to be a straight line to anywhere. You'll have those days where it's a straight line up, and you might even have the next day where it's a straight line up after it. But I wouldn't be surprised for a straight line down after that. Like that's what got all these analysts panties in a bunch right now. They don't know what to say. They can't make heads or tails of this, and it frustrates the hell out of it because they look at GameStop as a brick and mortar. They look at it as a Blockbuster 2.0. That's still the prevailing thought from mass media about GameStop. It's reminiscent of, I hate to do this, but reminiscent of what Tesla used to be before it transitioned, where everyone thought Tesla was just a car maker and they weren't proven technology and electric wasn't anything that they could really do. And then, oh wait, they bought a solar company. Oh wait, Tesla is an energy company. Oh wait, they're a technology company. So I feel like, investment is a gigantic speculation. And for anybody to argue what you're doing, it's funny to me. It's funny to me because I'll transition this into the haters real quick too. I had someone last night on my Twitter feed that was telling me that they guaranteed that GameStop was going to fall a lot because it was so overvalued right now. Overvalued for what? Like that's what drives me insane with all of this. There's no research done by anybody. They just think of what GameStop was and they're like, yeah, that's what it is, and this is just a short squeeze and nothing more than that. But they don't think of the repercussions of a short squeeze, of the potential of raising capital if it gets to an extreme amount again. And is that going to knock the price down? Potentially. But then you have a company that just raised a massive amount of funding from a minimal offering because of the share price value is so high because of the short squeeze. And then what happens if they use that money to purchase a gigantic game company or organization or esports team or league, or create a league, or I mean, there's so many things they could do. And I think that's what keeps drawing me back to the company is the limitless potential right now because of the short squeeze catalyst. My initial investment had very, very little to do. I wouldn't even say anything to do with the short squeeze. When I first invested in it, it was more the next generation consoles as a catalyst and focusing on they're going to have disk drives. They're going to have a used game business. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. And if they're able to reinvent themselves and create something out of this organization from that, then that's exciting. There's a potential 10 bagger. I didn't see a 50 bagger coming out of it. I didn't see a 100 bagger. But I mean, that's what happens when you invest in stuff. Unforeseen things happen, for better or worse. As far as my feelings on the price action this week following the earnings call, as I said after the earnings call, nothing would surprise me. Literally nothing. I even said that in my post-interview, a post-meeting conference call talk with everyone, where I was like, I could see this fall into, I think I even said like 130, 120 bucks. I could see it rising to 250, 300 bucks. Or anything beyond either one of those or in between. Like, this is such a speculative play right now that it is literally rolling dice based off of things that are completely out of an investor's control. Right now, I'm putting my faith in Ryan Cohen and the team that he's creating over there and putting together. A lot of people look at the Reggie Fils-Aimé leaving as a bad thing. I look at that as maybe Reggie wasn't providing what they expected out of him. Maybe Ryan said, we're actually going to transition the team into people that are more tech savvy than you. And Reggie probably said, hey, all right, I made my money. I can sell my stock. Win-win. I'm out. That's the way I look at that situation. I don't look at it as a negative, ironically, because when I saw Reggie going to the board initially last year, I was like, oh my God, that's huge news. And the stock barely even reacted. And I feel like there was so many fear-mongering articles that got posted about GameStop following their earnings call, videos on YouTube that were just trashing the company, trashing the earnings, trashing everything about them, and not realizing that the stock price has literally very little to do with the actual value of the company at this moment. The stock price represents people's feelings about the speculative nature, the future of the organization, and what could potentially come from it if they press the right buttons, flip the right switches, make the right moves, they duck and dodge at the right times. There is a chance, however small there is, for them to become a powerhouse in the world of video games. And that, to me, it's worth a lottery ticket purchase. To me, it's worth hanging on to some shares to see, hey, if they're able to do it, great. I'll be excited. I'm rooting for them, obviously. I just think it's funny that there's so many people rooting against them. But yet, they're so sure with the haters out there, they're so sure that GameStop's going to fail, that it's going to go down in value, that it's way overpriced right now for what the share prices is, but they won't short the stock. They won't buy puts on it. They're all talk. It's funny. I'm like, do a little bit of research first before you trash this company and notice that there's a reason why the share price is what it's at. Will it stay here next week? I don't know. Doubtful. At this point, it's a very volatile stock. And I'm even at the point right now where I strongly suggest for any investors out there, I mean, this is not financial advice again, but this is what I'm doing, is hedging my bets. When it goes up a lot, I sell a little bit. I hang on to a little bit. When it falls a lot, I hold what I kept and I buy a little bit more and just keep riding that elevator back and forth. And it's been working out really well for me so far. And I don't foresee that changing in the near future. I feel like it's going to be extremely volatile, until there's some sort of groundwork laid for the future plans. My frustration, along with the frustrations of a ton of other investors out there, are the same. That they feel like the roadmap that they laid out at the earnings call was weak. It was, at best, it was weak. This is a few bullet points. We're going to be customer centric. We're going to open a customer service department in America. We're going to do this, that, the other thing. But there was no this is what we're planning on doing. This is who we're buying, putting under our umbrella. This is what they're so uncertain right now, because I think right now they're playing the share price. And if it goes to an amount that makes sense, they will do an offering to make that money, to make some sort of gigantic purchase or organizational restructure with a ton of money they'd be making from that. Something they have to be concerned about. In the same hand is the very second that they do that offering, the short squeeze is all but over, in my humble opinion. So they better be damn well sure that what they're getting financially is going to be enough of a catalyst to be worth it to do the offering. Because right now, they always have that underlying pressure upwards from the shorts. It is an infinity squeeze. They can't escape it. Don't listen to what the mass media tells you. I've been in this stock for a very long time. I know. I've learned. I've relearned again that this short squeeze is never ending until they do the offering. So I think that moment is going to be the judgment day for this company. And I wouldn't be surprised, depending on a number of factors, what the stock price is at when they ultimately eventually do that offering, which I do believe they will do at some point in the future. What's the price of the stock when they do it? And initially, I would expect the stock price to crash and crater. And then people will realize, oh, wait, they actually just made a shit ton of money off of this. They're probably going to be doing something with that money to raise the value of the company intrinsically. And then the share price will bounce back from that. So from an investor's standpoint, it's a win-win, highly volatile, high risk. I say high a lot. I heard Michael Pachter saying that they might get into the weed selling business. I mean, that's another option. I don't know about that. That's kind of out there, but I mean, you got Ryan Cohen posting the bear from TED token. I mean, everything's on the table. It's a wild situation. It's like watching a real life movie. Researching this company has been one of the most entertaining things I've ever done in my life. And that, when I say it out loud, that sounds really kind of pathetic. But in reality, it's true. It's been a roller coaster ride from the second Ryan Cohen joined the team. He even posted a tweet of a roller coaster at that point. Strap yourselves in, because it's going to be a wild ride. But I don't think even he could have expected it to be as wild as it has been. Where it goes from here, like I said, everything's on the table. I'm kind of just airing my thoughts on the directions. And it's kind of like a lucid dream right now. It's kind of like it could go here, but then go over here and then over here. There's no concrete direction yet. And that might scare a lot of people out of it. And I completely understand that. But as for me, I like the stock, and I still like Roaring Kitty. It's a good dude. I'm going to leave the video right there. Thank you all again so much for joining that live stream. That was a huge success. And the post party of that was reminiscent of the Roaring Kitty streams back in the day, where I used to just chill and listen to him. And I could never fill those shoes, but it was fun to at least have a little piece of that back. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, you stay smashing.
Smash the J,